Hi students, today we are going to talk about the endings of the third person for the simple present. So the first option that you have is the regular ending. You just add the ns at the end of the verb. The second option that you have is verbs ending with o, sh, ch, ss, or x. You just add es at the end of the verb. And the last option is with verbs ending with y. You just add an ies at the end of the verb. But let's see it more closely. So let's start with the regular ending. As you can see, you just have to add an s at the end of the verb. For example, in the sentence, he likes soccer. So with the verb like, you just add an s at the end. Or with the verb love, she loves video games. So you just add an s at the end of the verb also. And lastly, with the sentence, it gives me nightmare. So with the verb give, you just add an s at the end again. The next option is with verbs ending with sh. You add es at the end of the verb. So for example, with the verb brush, brush ends with sh. So in the sentence, she brushes her teeth. You add es at the end of the verb. Or with the verb banish, again, it ends with sh, so you just add an es at the end, as in the sentence, he banishes her. Or with the verb blush, again, it ends with sh, so you just add an es, as in the sentence, he blushes when he looks at her. The next option that you have, it's with verbs that ends with ch. You also have to add an es at the end of the verb. For example, with the verb touch, you had the es, so he touches her. Or with the verb watch, again ending with ch, you have to write she watches TV. Or with the verb match, he matches the cards. Another option that you have is with verbs that ends with ho and no. So for example, the verb go, you have to add also an es at the end. So you will have to write, he goes to the cinema. Or with the verb do also that ends with the o, you will have to write it like he does his course. So again, adding the es at the end of the verb. Another option that you have is verbs that ends with ss. You also have to add es at the end. So with the verb kiss, which ends with two s's, you have to write he kisses her. Also with the verb miss, that ends also with two s, you have to add the es at the end. So in the sentence, she misses her. Lastly, with this option, it's with the verb x, with the verb that ends with an x. You have to add the es at the end also. So for example, with the verb mix, he mixes the salad. So you have to add the es at the end of the verb. And with the verb relax, so she relaxes on the couch. So you have to add the es at the end of the verb also. The last option is with verbs that ends with y. So you have to replace the y by an I and adds es at the end. So for example, with the verb cry, that ends with a y, you have to write she cries all the time. So as you can see, we replace the y by an I and we add the es at the end. And again, with the verb fly, this bird flies, you replace again the y by the I and you add the es at the end, as you can see. But there is exception for the verbs that ends with a y. So with verbs that has a vowel before the y, you just say it like this. So for example, with the verb say, in the verb say you have the a, which is a vowel. So you have to keep the y and just add an s at the end. So you will write it like he says. So you just had the s, as you can see on the picture. That was it for the lesson of grammar today. Well done, guys. See you next week.
Created using Powtoon.